So I was an event planner for 25 years before I became a grief specialist. And one of the things that I would often meet with the bride and groom, I did a lot of weddings. So I would meet with the bride and groom and we would sit down and we would talk about, first thing was always the budget and then their plan, right? And I would always lead to this part in my conversation with them is that there are no rules when planning the wedding. There's no rules. But most brides and grooms think that they were supposed to do what they saw their friends do. I went to 5 weddings this year and my friends did this, 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 and this. I even had a groom tell me once, you mean we're not going to have chicken and rice pilaf? Because he thought all weddings, they serve chicken and rice pilaf. Like that's just the way it's supposed to go.
Facts.
So, and the truth is, you don't have to serve any food. You could have a dessert bar. There's so many things you can do. Recently, you and I have been working with this beautiful client, and she's doing a celebration of life for her husband. And I've been helping her just come up with some ideas. And that was what I led with. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to do the celebration of life you saw all your friends do, or the last 10 celebrations of life that you've been to. When you're celebrating someone's life, you should make it about them.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating Bob. I'm celebrating Carol. I'm celebrating Susie. I want to make it about them. But so many times we come into this experience and we think it should be quiet and everyone wear black and everyone do what they're supposed to do.
I happened to see this video. It was an old video of The View having a topic like this. And it 2 sisters whose mom passed away, they did a TikTok dance at the coffin side. I guess coffin side, like bedside. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway. And they got a lot of judgment and a lot of negative comments and just people really shaming them for doing that. And it bothered me. It really bothered me because who says that they can't do that? Where is it written that you cannot dance for your mother as a means of saying goodbye to her? What if that was their thing? What if the mom said, when I go, I want you to do your TikTok dance because I love to see you 2 dance together? Who knows what the thing was? So why
maybe the mom was trying to learn the TikTok dance. I'm talked over you. I'm sorry. Maybe the mom was trying to learn the TikTok dance before, right?
Yeah, maybe the mom was doing the TikTok in heaven, you know, with Jesus while they were doing it at the funeral.
Wait a minute, I'm Anita.
But who says they can't do that?
Nobody.
It really bothered me. We get to make our own rules for our own loved ones. We don't have to follow. There's no book that says, oh, you're burying John. Okay, for John's burial, you got to do this. No one says that. You get to do whatever you want.
You get to do whatever you stinking want. And you know what? If it's not bothering you, why do you have an opinion about it? That bothers me as well.
Exactly.
So I want to go back to 17 years ago. We get the call that Austin has died. Our whole family comes home from the lake. And the first thing Lewis says is, nobody's wearing black to my son's funeral.
Right.
He said, nobody's wearing black to my son's funeral. My son was joy and light and full of life. And I want that displayed in who he was. I loved that. Yeah. It's still one of the most precious moments. It makes me emotional just thinking about it. And so all of the uncles were pallbearers for Austin, and we got them all Tommy Bahama matching shirts. They all wore Tommy Bahama shirts. That summer, Austin had worn a set of puka shells all through the summer. So all the guys wore puka shells. Austin was about everything motorcycle, truck, and cars. And I made a casket spray and put a little bit of a Hummer on it. And one of his uncles, Shannon, brought in a Hummer that was like 10 times the size of mine. He walked in, I didn't even know he had it. And I was like, oh no, dude, we're taking this one off. We're putting yours on. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So I took my little car off and put Shannon and Wendy's on. We had the kids be the center of the ceremony, so they got to share. The kids wore shirts that had Austin's picture on it, and they all signed a letter, and we took their signatures and put it on the back of their shirts.
Yeah. Yeah.
We still had the ceremony in the Catholic Church.
But
Every
also,
single,
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. I was going to say, but
Every
also uncle set up the fire trucks. They had fire trucks in the parking lot, and the firemen had what they do when they lose someone. They have their empty boots. It signifies the loss. So they had their
loss.
setup. There were police cars there. I mean, it was the most unreal funeral you could imagine, but it was perfect for Austin.
So, okay, so hear me out. What if Austin's funeral was shared at the View also?
Right.
Up against the girls doing the TikTok dance. Who gets to make the rules for you? Nobody.
Right.
You get to do whatever in the hell you want to do at your person's funeral, and nobody can tell you. And for forever and for the rest of my life, I will always be thankful to Uncle Lou, because he set the tone when he said, "No one wears black.
Yeah.
No one wears black."
Well, I think culturally, aren't we the only country that does that? Because I think other cultures, they wear white, or they wear, different colors. Like, I think we're the only ones that get to make it dark and somber. It doesn't have to be. It's sad. Absolutely. 1,000%. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. But what filled our hearts with joy was to honor Austin in a way he would have loved. And that's what we did. So it takes some of that bitterness off, because you're saying goodbye to him in the best possible way, in a way that he would just be smiling and just loving. Like, that's to me what it should be about.
So one of the other things was he wore those, and for lack of a better word, the only thing I can call them, the little rubber bracelets with the Live Strong bracelets. So he had probably about 8 of those.
Oh God, they were disgusting. Oh my God, they were so gross.
And we gave those away to everyone as they were walking out the door. Everybody got a Live Strong bracelet. I wouldn't have changed one thing that we did. I mean, everything about it was so beautiful. I forgot one part. Brittany mentioned it to me the other day. We let balloons go at the funeral, at the gravesite. I forgot that.
I don't remember that either. Was I there?
I had forgotten it. Yeah, you were there.
Just kidding.
So, okay. So I shared Austin's service to say, we did what we wanted to, based on what you guys did, what you wanted to. I made it happen, but you guys did what you wanted to. I want to share another story. Shortly after that, I was talking about pictures. It was weeks after, like I was at your house, we were talking about pictures. And Lewis walked in the room on the tail end of the story, and he thought I said, we took pictures at the funeral. And it immediately got him upset. Yeah. And he was like, somebody took pictures at my son's funeral? What are you talking about? And I was like, no, man, we're not talking about that. Nobody took pictures. I mean, I don't know anybody that took pictures. Nobody took pictures. But look at us 10 years later. We're getting ready to bury Donovan. And he comes up to me and he says to me, Sharon, I want pictures. He said, the one regret that I have from Austin's funeral is that I couldn't remember it in my brain. He goes, I want as many pictures as you can take so to help me remember it. Here it was, 10 years difference, 2 different boys, and he was in a different place for the photos. And he asked me for photos. And some of the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen in my life were taken at Donovan's funeral. Mm-hmm. All the flags, the National Guard being there, the gun salute, you guys being escorted off by 2 officers. But my most favorite picture is when the officer leaned over to hand you the flag, and the way he did it, and he had his foot back, and the way he was handing you the folded flag. I'm so glad I got those photos, and I'm so glad Lewis asked for them. But that was okay too.
Right.
There's no written rule about taking photos or not.
No, there isn't.
And it does seem sort of morbid, doesn't it?
Well,
it's sort of morbid that you would allow.
I think, when I've seen photos of people who have like the traditional casket and the person, like that's a little because it's uncomfortable. It's just weird. It's just out of the fact that Donovan was cremated and there wasn't a body, and it was all of what the military does to honor their service members is beautiful. I've only seen a couple pictures. I've only seen stuff that people have that posted, on their pages, because people commented like that was one of the most beautiful funerals. It's just like, to think beautiful and funeral could be put together. But my favorite part was when all of his Harley Davidson, the coworkers, the people he sold motorcycles to, and just friends came in on their motorcycle, all their Harleys, and how loud it was. And the procession, they had their own procession coming in. And I think people ultimately would be like, oh my God, you're letting those motorcycle, rider, but it was awesome because it was for Donovan, and it was what Donovan would have wanted. And he lived that.
And it was at your house.
Yeah.
It was in your front yard. It wasn't in a church building. Like, we did the exact opposite of what you would think that the normal or average or typical service would take place. There are no rules for the service. You can do whatever you want to do. So I have a question for you before I let you off real quick. Am I doing the TikTok dance at your?
Oh yeah, because I'm having a DJ. There's going to be a DJ. There's going to be a bar. Oh, absolutely, a dance floor. Because I want the celebration to be how I lived, and that's what I love.
Yeah. So that brought me back to that. So when Sharon died, my girlfriend Sharon died. My person, which is another podcast we're going to be doing, Losing Your Person. She was in the hospital. She was diagnosed with the cancer. And she just said to me, hey, I want a fried chicken served at my funeral. And I want to have a DJ. Those were the only two things that she left me. And so, sort of like you, I rented a place. We did an open bar. I had a photo booth. We had a buffet that was open the whole time. I had a cake table, dessert table with sundaes, so the kids could make sundaes, because she was real involved with the kids. And 500 people danced for probably 5 hours on the dance floor. And everyone kept coming up to me saying, I want you to do this for me when I die. And I was like, nope. Only one person gets this. Apparently you're going to be getting the same thing. And
well,
it was amazing.
Maybe there's a transition here from wedding planning to celebration of life planning. Maybe I see this in your future. Maybe we add that on to our specialties.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the people doing the couple, the girls who did the TikTok dance, was something special that they did with their mom. And it's none of our damn business.
No, it's not. And we shouldn't have an opinion on it. If it's not for you, then don't do a TikTok dance at your loved one's funeral and move on with your life.
Oh my gosh, I love the way you said that. Just to be clear, you're not doing a TikTok dance.
Oh, I'm dancing.
I actually don't even want a funeral. And that just really explains to people. I don't even want a funeral. I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. Like, my kids will have to do something for themselves for that part, for them. But I don't even really want a funeral. Like, none of that interests me at all. I'm totally fine with, I just want to be cremated. I want my ashes mixed with Tony's whoever
You want to be
first.
A tree? I'll make you a tree.
No, I want to go to Catalina.
Oh, they have an underwater cremation. That's it. That's the one.
That's what you sent me, but they're ugly.
That's the one.
They're ugly.
Don't worry. I'll take care of it. You're fine. You're fine.
Bye, girl.
Bye, friends.